Hello, and welcome to episode number 108 of the TEW WWE Challenge Run. This is going to be the final pay-per-view stop on the road to WrestleMania. Sunday, week 3, February 2021, the SmackDown branded No Way Out pay-per-view, where a lot of pieces will fall into place for the road to WrestleMania. Without any further ado, let's jump straight into the show.
Oh yeah, here we go again. Looks like we're on the floor again. Hell yeah, here we go again. 'Cause I came here to win.
It's not on the pre-show. It says Sasha Banks did good work at ringside, but she's obviously got more important things to take care of on this night, so she wasn't able to be there for Mickie and Indy. And Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart score the win over Mickie James and Indy Hartwell of Boss. Ember pins Indy with the Eclipse. 41 for Indy Hartwell, 50 for Mickie James, 39 for Shotzi, and Ember leading the way with a 62. Not too shabby, if I do say so myself, for that to get a 57, because Indy Hartwell and Shotzi Blackheart are in it. And they're not going to be able to... I mean, they're going to be at ringside for Sasha anyway, because it's the Elimination Chamber. But they can't be there in spirit either. And that match opens the show. The order of elimination they've got on the screen is wrong, but I'll go through it again myself, yeah. So, first up, we'll have Mandy Rose getting eliminated. We'll say by Shayna Baszler. Because Shayna Baszler... she eliminated everybody in the Elimination Chamber last year, and she's looking to do that again and win the SmackDown Women's title. And she chokes out Mandy. Like Mandy would start in with, we'll say, Bayley, and then Alexa would come in. I'd say Alexa would come in third, and then fourth in would be Shayna Baszler. And the second she comes in, she chokes out Mandy Rose, and then you guessed it, shortly after, Alexa Bliss also choked out, and she's gone. Bayley doesn't get eliminated by Shayna right away though. Shayna's actually the next person gone. Much like they did with Charlotte in the Raw one. The three women realise, hey, we've got to stop Shayna, she's a bit of a beast. They trap her arm or something in the pod, ram the pod door against her arm, sort of do stuff like that to neutralise her. And then in the end, she'd get pinned by Bayley, and Bayley would eliminate Shayna Baszler. Then we'll have Dakota, and her and Bayley fighting off Sasha Banks, but Bayley beats Dakota, pins her, 1, 2, 3, and the final two, it's Bayley and Sasha, doing their good old face-off from their callback to their feud. But there's only one way this is going to win. Bayley tries her hardest. She doesn't do the headband thing. I don't want to overdo that spot. But it's just a nice, hey look, Sasha and Bayley are in the ring, they're having a face-off, that's always cool. And Sasha Banks wins with a frog splash, maybe on the top of a pod or something cool, to retain the SmackDown Women's title for the second time. Second time in actually in a sealed structure for the second time as well. 74 for Sasha, 71 for Bayley, 68 for Shayna, 61 for Dakota, 54 for Alexa, and a 47 for Mandy. That's pretty decent, I do say so myself, because the match rating only scored one less than the highest rate performance. And then the dust settles and they raise the cell. Indy and Mickie James, they come into the ring, they've recovered, and they hoist Sasha Banks onto their shoulders as the boss holds her up in the air with her tongue out, like, yeah, oh, look at me, bitch. I'm bossy and sexy, and she points at the WrestleMania sign while being hoisted on Indy and Mickey's shoulders. But they're not alone in this segment. Apparently, Scott Stanford... fucking important WrestleMania match announcement segment. I've put Scott Stanford in there. Scott Stanford in a blue wig is being held up high, holding up the SmackDown Women's title because Sasha Banks, I guess, was busy when Bianca Belair comes out. She's like, I've had a lot of time to think, 3 weeks to think since I won the Royal Rumble. John Cena, he made his decision last night, and that was all him. He's pretty much hinted ever since the start he was going to fight the WWE Champion. But I've had to weigh all my options out, because me and Io Shirai, back from NXT, we had a lot of unfinished business. And she retained her title last night, so I thought, girl, maybe I'll finally get one up on her. And me and Io Shirai would have a hell of a WrestleMania match. So Sasha gets down. The two members of Boss put Sasha Banks down. She's like, oh, really? Because obviously Sasha Banks is scared of Bianca Belair because she pinned her on SmackDown 2 nights ago. She's like, I think you made the right choice. I do think Io Shirai is... I'd say if you want to win the title at WrestleMania, you've got a better chance of facing Io Shirai and beating her for the title than you have me. And honestly, she hands her, goes to offer out a handshake. She's like, I wish you luck over Monday Night Raw. And Bianca just looks at her, she pulls one of the Bianca Belair facial expressions. She turns to the camera, looking insulted. And she's like, girl. And then Sasha, her expression changes from one of joy to one of fear. And Bianca grabs the handshake and she pulls Sasha in and she's like, And she hoists Sasha Banks up on her shoulders and she gets hit with the KOD. Indy tries to charge it at Bianca, but she gets hair whipped. Mickie James, same thing. And she holds that SmackDown Women's title up high. She points to the WrestleMania sign. And the graphic flashes up. Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair. SmackDown Women's Championship. WrestleMania 37. Here's a match. 75. I didn't think I would... Well, actually I did because I knew what the finish was going to be, but... It's a good deal, but we'll be seeing the... covering up the result for now. Because it's going to be Street Profits and the Usos, which I can imagine would be the sort of match that I would send out there to ensure that, like, this is how good tag team wrestling can be. You've got these two sick teams. Watch this go. They go 18. They go 18 minutes, and it's an absolute barn burner. And the Usos, they try everything. They can't put the Street Profits down because the Street Profits are the new fiery babyface tag team, like the Usos used to be. And they have a hell of a match, but in the end, Jacob Fatu comes out from the back, and he lays out both the Street Profits, allowing the Usos to pick up the win and make the third defense of the SmackDown Tag Team titles. 74 for Jimmy. Oh, fuck. Sorry. 74 for Jimmy, 73 for Jay, 62 for Dawkins, and a 63 for Ford. Then after the match, the Usos instruct Jacob Fatu to attack both of the Street Profits. And then the Usos grab a mic and they're like, you think you're family, Us? Nah. We had our big Us by our side this whole time. He's family, this is family. From our cold, dead Samoan hands, you're going to have to rip these titles away from us. So the Usos have turned heel. And we're doing the soft bloodline with Jacob Fatu. I'm sure there's somebody else on this brand that may teeter with toying and talking to these people at some point, but for now, we're keeping it as this three-man group because they're heels, and as much as I'm tempted to do the real-life route, that person isn't a heel in my world, and I don't want to rush into the heel turn. If I want to do it, I want to make it make sense. So it's just going to be these three for now, Jay, Jimmy, and Jacob. Triple J. Who knows what happened to Lana? She was Jacob Fatu's manager for a while. And then I sort of just realised that anything Lana touched just turned to shit. Maybe Jacob Fatu ate her. I don't know. But she's not here. 74. That's pretty good for these two. Gable beats Apollo in 17-13 with the Chaos Theory to make defense number 1 of the US title. Not much else to say about it, just a pretty sick match between these two to showcase themselves on pay-per-view. Gable gets a 76 and a 69 for Apollo Crews. Backstage segment with Paige. She's here again, and she's talking to Kaylee Ray and Nikki Cross again. She's like, well, as a former women's champion, obviously I'm going to, as a fan of fellow Brit, I want to try and help you two, because I see you two, you could be the greatest potential women's tag team in this whole division. And they're like, well, thanks, Paige. Obviously, you've got nothing else to do. Obviously, you'll go where fate takes you for WrestleMania, but for right now, you've got no plans at the minute. So do you want to maybe come out to ringside and guide us? Be like a mentor for one night? See if we can win these tag team titles? Paige's like, you know what? Yeah, I would. I'm going to help you. I'm going to cheer you on, my fellow British women. So Paige will be at ringside accompanying Kaylee Ray and Nikki Cross for the women's tag title match. 82. In the last month or so in this save, I've started to realise that occasionally matches that are under like 16, 17 minutes. Because I got into the habit of booking every match to be fucking ridiculously long, because I think they'll be sick and I want to give people time. I want to like actually have good matches, because that's how I would book the show. But this goes 13 minutes because I don't want him to squash Brian, but it shouldn't be going too long. Brian shouldn't be taking him to his limit this early. And yeah, I guess an 82. Pretty sick. Karrion Kross wins by submission, by the way. Bryan wouldn't tap, he'd pass out. I would save the visual of him tapping out when he does for someone like Cesaro, not a monster like Karrion Kross. 13-32, the match goes, I just said. Submission with a cross bracket. 68 for Kross and 89 for Daniel Bryan. And then the lights are flashing, they go all red, Karrion Kross leaves. Daniel Bryan leaves. And the lights go out. I want to reiterate at this point that I've made a habit myself. I may have said it vocally, but if I haven't, here it is. It's sort of just been implied that, like, I'm not going to really tackle political issues in too much depth on here because, like, whatever, you do you. If you want to be whatever, I don't care where you fall, as long as you're not actively racist or actively harmful to anyone else. You do you. So I said, like, if I'm ever going to attack anything like political or anything kind of controversial, I'm going to try and make sure I do it from a good place where you can see one angle, you could see the other, and without trying to, like, divide people, because that would just be silly to do over a TEW booking game. With that being said, though, well, you look who it is. I bet you thought you'd seen the last of me, he says. Huh? Well, despite the best efforts of WWE, the best efforts of Paul Levesque, and all of the beloved WWE Universe, I don't go down that easily. So what happened? Why did I leave? Why am I back? Why did Kushida and Dabba-Kato and Mia Yim leave? Why did Kushida and Dabba-Kato and Mia Yim come back? Because we can't let them win. You see, around a year ago, I became this all-seeing, all-knowing hacker who vowed to showcase the injustice in WWE. But I failed. Because the true injustices eluded even me. Because they aren't visible to the naked eye, they're behind the scenes. You see, I had to fight my ass off to get noticed here. After I was left unused for 6 months. 6 whole months. I wasn't injured. I didn't take time off. Good old creative had nothing for Mustafa Ali. And why would they? Mustafa Ali isn't a priority to them. So I came back and I tried to be the good guy. I tried to help the boys in the back. And despite it all going against him, Mustafa Ali became the Universal Champion. And all my friends came out to congratulate me. No one. All those months I spent being the guiding light, and I got nothing in return. Some mysterious hacker took out 2 of our locker room leaders, in Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, and I was tasked with facing him for my title. No one came to help me in that match. And after I lost my title, my dream was ripped away from me. The commentators, they were sat there, they hammered home how much of a failure Mustafa Ali was. Now he let everybody down. So I asked for my release. Because this company makes me sick to my stomach. And I was tired of keeping my mouth shut. Mustafa, don't do it, they told me. Nope, they didn't do that. They granted my release. Triple H is like, oh well, if you really feel that way, it's probably best you go, No proposals, no agreements, nothing. Because WWE, deep down, they know they don't care about someone named Mustafa Ali. Not one iota. Not Paul Levesque. Not Conor Ramsey. Not Bruce. None of them. And mine is a success story. You look at the mighty Hoss House. Well, of course, Tucker and Braun, they stayed on SmackDown. The other 2, they were yanked from television. That's very interesting, isn't it? Kudos to AJ Styles for his hindsight to bring Omos back to and give him a second chance that this company were not prepared to give him. Kushida, quite possibly the greatest IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion of all time. Yes, because there is other wrestling companies out there than just WWE. He was reduced to nothing here. A joke. In NXT. And why was that? Oh, well, we had Shinsuke Nakamura here, of course. We have that quota filled for Japanese wrestlers on our main roster. Tozawa, Hideo Watami, you can go rot away in 205 Live till your contracts come up, and you're never going to be on the main roster, and you're never going to harass us again. You will sit there and you will take it like a good little hand. Mia goddamn Yim. Mia Yim, in case you didn't know, is a world-travelled veteran. Yet she's been overlooked time and time again by new flavors of the month, both in NXT and on the main roster. So I told them my gripes, and they agreed with me. And they also asked for their release, and lo and behold, granted. They didn't even get the gratification of being told. It was mutual like I did on the website. They just got told they were released because they really had that little value in Mia Yim and Dabba-Kato and Kushida. Big mistake. Because while we may be gone, we aren't gone. The most dangerous people are the ones with nothing to lose and everything to gain. And I've already lost everything. And no one gave a rat's ass when I lost everything. And now, I'm shutting this whole company down, and I'm bringing it to light the one major injustice that the hacker never got to expose: corporate corruption. And it starts with Mia Yim, it starts with Kushida, it starts with Dabba-Kato, and it starts with Mustafa Ali. Not Mustafa, that was just an Americanism they told me so that I'd be more American to you people. No more. Mustafa Ali is the name, and this is the message that I will deliver, because you do not own us anymore, and that's just the way we like it. That's when Adam Pearce comes onto the stage, and Ali starts tapping his wrist. He's like, well, would you look at the goddamn time? It seems our allotted 10-minute time slot is up, and lo and behold, they wouldn't want to keep Mustafa Ali on pay-per-view for any longer than this, would they? But we'll leave. And then obviously a load of road agents and referees come out trying to escort them out. I'm like, oh, it's okay. I know you understand. I know you see some people who look like us trying to hijack a show, and you are automatically assuming bad things. But we're going to leave peacefully. We've said our dues, and the ball's now in your court, Paul. Choice is yours. So a lot to unpack here. Ali had very similar gripes in real life. That's why I felt okay doing this sort of angle. And it's not like stereotypical. They're all POCs with a chip on their shoulder with nothing to lose. They're not Retribution, because just booking something with that name has such a sour taste in my mouth from real life. They are known as The Message, collectively. That is their stable name. And yeah, they're all technically still unemployed, but they're there. All you people who are worried about Ali, Mia Yim, and Kushida, when I put the little release graphics up, you can relax now, it's fine. 69, nice. In a decent match, Candice LeRae and Ruby Riott defeat Kaylee Ray and Nikki Cross. Candice pins Nikki with the Wicked Stepsister. Candice and Ruby make defense number 2 of the women's tag titles. A 54 for Nikki Cross. Kaylee Ray gets a 38, a 68 for Ruby, and a 72 for Candice. But believe it or not, we have another big segment after this. Because Nikki Cross and Kaylee Ray are looking like dejected in the ring. They're going, we had our first shot of titles, and we've failed on the pay-per-view. Some Paige gets into them to consult them, and she's like, it's okay, girls, it's literally your like 3rd or 4th match of the team, and it's your first shot of the tag team titles. You don't get so down, you'll get them next time. Just keep working hard and you'll get them titles. And Ruby and Candice look at them and they're like, oh, look at Paige. Look at her trying to be the big caring mother figure. And they attack Paige. Paige has been taken down. And Nikki Cross and Ruby Riott, keep getting the team partners mixed up. Nikki Cross and Kaylee Ray sort of like roll out the ring because we want to make sure this is them about them attacking Paige. When out to Paige's rescue comes AJ Lee from Monday Night Raw, her old friend, frenemy, whatever they were called, Freaks and Geeks partner, and she helps Paige get to her feet and fight off the two members of the church. And sorry, they're not in the church anymore. The Way and AJ and Paige look at each other, and they share a big smile and a big hug. And have we just found who's next in line for the Women's Tag Team Championships here?
You got me feeling diamond rich. Nothing on this planet compares to it. Don't you agree? Who needs to go to sleep when I got you next to me? All night I ride with you. I know you got my back and you know I got you. So come up, lights out, follow the noise. Baby, keep on dancing like you ain't got a choice. So come up, come up, come on, let's get physical. Adrenaline keeps on.
Big segment. Elimination Chamber hype video. Winner goes to WrestleMania to face Karrion Kross for the Universal title. And we're going to do, right, so the first entrance is we have AJ Styles. He goes into a pod. Corbin goes into a pod. Angel Garza goes into a pod. And then out fourth comes Keith Lee. Actually, no. Take back everything I've just said. AJ, Braun, and Garza are in the pods. And then out comes Keith Lee, so he's the fourth man in the pod. So you're thinking that Corbin and Bobby Lashley are going to start. Then Keith Lee, he's coming out, and he's coming into he gets onto the steps when from behind, Brock Lesnar wipes him out and smashes his head against the steel steps, and the Brock Lesnar basically edges him here. Like he's Kofi and Brock's edge, and then instead of getting in, they pull Brock aside. And they're like, "Oh, get out here, there's no need, you've attacked Keith Lee." But it's quite clear Keith Lee's in no state to get into the chamber. So they pull Keith Lee aside and they medically assess him. But their side, he probably can't, he's probably not fit to go. And then Corbin comes out fourth. He was supposed to be starting the match. But then he's like, well, hey, he gets into the ring like, well, there's a free pod open, so I'm going to go take that, thank you very much. So Corbin locks himself into the pod. Then Bobby Lashley's in the ring, alone. And Keith Lee can't make it in. And this is normally where I try and be cute, and I'm going to put a funny graphic up and hide it and do some big reveal, but you know where this is going. In 82... Roman Reigns defeats Angel Garza, Braun Strowman, King Corbin, and Bobby Lashley and AJ Styles in a chamber match. I would have... Who do I start in there? Lashley and Roman. Braun go first. Bobby Lashley would eliminate Braun and then Corbin. So Lashley would rack up them two eliminations. I'd probably also have him eliminate AJ. And then Roman can eliminate Garza. Lashley and Roman are the final two. Then Big Roman spears Bobby Lashley. The big dog is back. And he gets his chance to get revenge on the man who took him out for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania. 81 rated show, that's not too bad actually. We gained pop in one region. Sure, I'll take it. What matters more than the 81 is what you thought of the show. This is actually one of the most eventful shows I think I've done in a while. Because, and you didn't hear this from me, I was a lot more looking forward to No Way Out than I was Fastlane. Because I knew I had a lot of stuff to advance here, whereas Fastlane was kind of like, we did advance one or two things, but most of the stuff on the Raw side is going to be happening tomorrow night on the next episode. And yeah, I knew there was a lot of shit to go down this show. You got fucking Scott Stanford and Bianca Belair making their WrestleMania match official, the Usos turn, the AJ and Paige thing, the Brock and Keith Lee thing, and of course, whatever the Message are up to. and we're going to find out what's next for SmackDown in episode 110. And before that is going to be 109, week 4, February 2021, Monday Night Raw, on the official final straight home leg to WrestleMania. Hopefully, I'll see you then.